In the summer of 1996, the city of Bucharest felt different from the very beginning. People woke up earlier, stayed out later, and talked with more excitement than usual. Everywhere someone looked, at bus stops, in cafes, at the markets, there were conversations about only one thing. Michael Jackson was coming back to perform. Many people remembered his famous 1992 show in the same city. It was still talked about with pride, almost like a historic moment everyone had lived through together. So, when news spread that he would return for the history tour, the whole city seemed to stir with fresh energy. The first signs of the upcoming concert appeared on posters that workers hung on walls and billboards. The posters showed Michael in his history military-style outfit, looking strong and confident. People stopped on sidewalks just to stare at them. Some pointed excitedly, others took out their small cameras to take pictures, and a few simply stood there smiling as if they were looking at a memory instead of a poster. Children tugged on their parents' sleeves, asking questions about the performer everyone seemed to admire so deeply. Within days, ticket booths became the busiest places in the city. Long lines formed early in the mornings, stretching around corners. People stood with umbrellas to block the sun, holding snacks, water bottles, and sometimes even folding chairs. They didn't complain about the wait. Instead, they talked to each other like old friends, even if they had only just met. Everyone shared one purpose: to see the king of pop live. Some fans told stories of watching his music videos at home, or how they had saved money for months just so they could afford a ticket. Others described what it felt like to see his 1992 concert, how the crowd sang together, how the lights looked, how Michael's presence made everyone feel part of something bigger. Inside homes, people prepared in their own ways. Someone played Michael's songs on repeat while cleaning. Another family watched footage of old performances on television. Teenagers tried to practice dance moves in front of mirrors, laughing when they could not spin as smoothly as he did. Tailors began sewing custom shirts, jackets, and even white gloves for fans who wanted to dress like their idol. Street vendors stocked up on shirts, scarves, and posters, expecting that business would be strong during the week of the concert. For many people, the event felt more like a holiday than just a show. Meanwhile, across the city, unnoticed by most people, trucks filled with equipment started to arrive. They came from airports, shipping areas, and nearby countries carrying parts of the massive stage setup that Michael Jackson was famous for using. Workers lifted metal frames, long cables, sound systems, and lighting towers from trucks, calling out instructions to one another as they worked. Cranes moved tall sections of the stage into place. At night, bright lights covered the venue as teams worked hour after hour, determined to finish everything on time. The size of the setup amazed even those who had worked at concerts before. It was clear this was not an ordinary show. It was a world-class production. As the stage grew day by day, so did the excitement. People walking by stopped to take a look. Some pressed their faces against the fence, trying to imagine what the final setup would look like. Others whispered to each other, amazed at how large the structure was becoming. Children stood on their toes to peek inside. A few lucky fans even got to hear small bits of sound tests, drum beats, bass notes, or microphone checks, which made them even more impatient for the big night. Michael Jackson's touring team arrived a few days before the rehearsals began. These were professionals from different countries, all experienced in handling shows of this size. They checked every detail carefully. They tested sound levels, walked across the stage to ensure there were no loose parts, and inspected lighting patterns. Some worked with computers that controlled video screens, while others rolled out long cables that connected dozens of speakers. Everyone had a role, and everyone moved with the calm focus of someone who knew exactly what they were doing. When Michael himself arrived, it was as if the air changed. Word spread quickly, even though the team tried to keep his arrival quiet. Fans gathered near hotels and outside gated areas, hoping for even a small glimpse. Some waited with cameras, others simply hoped to see his silhouette through a window. Though he stayed mostly private, the simple knowledge that he was somewhere in the city made the excitement feel even more real. Inside the venue, rehearsals began under the watchful eyes of both the crew and a few distant fans who climbed nearby spots just to listen. Michael joined his dancers, standing among them as they practiced sharp movements together. He observed everything carefully, adjusting steps, suggesting timing changes, and sometimes demonstrating moves himself. His attention to detail impressed even the dancers who had worked with him on many tours. He wanted every beat, every step, and every lighting cue to match perfectly. While rehearsing, he sometimes joked with his team or gave friendly nods of approval when someone perfected a sequence. But when it came to performing, he focused intensely, almost transforming into the artist everyone admired. His dancers matched his energy, creating a synchronized group that moved as one. At times, even the technical staff paused to watch, mesmerized by his precision and dedication. Outside the venue, crowds continued to grow each day. Some people brought speakers and played his music loudly, turning the streets near the stadium into a lively gathering spot. Groups of children attempted the moonwalk together, laughing when they lost their balance. Older fans shared stories about the first time they heard Billie Jean or Thriller. Tourists visiting Bucharest at the time were astonished to witness such a unique atmosphere. It felt as if the entire city were celebrating something together. Local shops joined the excitement as well. Bakeries decorated cakes with musical notes. Clothing stores displayed themed outfits in their windows. Record shops placed Michael's albums at the front, knowing they would sell quickly. Radio stations talked about the concert every day, interviewing fans and playing requests of his most popular songs. Even people who weren't usually fans admitted they were curious to see what would happen on the big night. As the concert date neared, security teams worked with local authorities to ensure everything would run smoothly. They prepared routes for the expected flow of thousands of attendees. Volunteers trained to guide people to their seats. Medical teams checked their stations. Everyone wanted the event to be safe, comfortable, and unforgettable for the fans and the performer alike. The night before the concert, the city hardly slept. Many fans stayed awake, talking with excitement or preparing their outfits. Some visited the venue just to feel close to it, staring at the giant stage glowing under test lights. Others stayed home, watching his music videos with family or friends, imagining how it would feel to see him perform those same songs live. The energy in the air was warm, hopeful, and filled with anticipation. By morning, buses, trams, and taxis were filled with people heading in the same direction. They carried cameras, posters, and flags. Parents held their children's hands tightly, not wanting them to get lost in the crowd. Groups of teenagers walked boldly, singing as they went. Elderly couples walked slowly but proudly, determined not to miss this once-in-a-lifetime moment. Every person, no matter their age, shared one feeling, excitement that could almost be touched. Even hours before the gates opened, people gathered outside the stadium in large numbers. The sound of conversations blended with distant music tests from inside. Occasionally, a loud cheer rose when someone thought they heard a familiar tune. People exchanged smiles with strangers, creating a sense of connection that made the crowd feel like one large community. The entire build-up, the posters, the rehearsals, the crowds, the shared memories, the long lines, and the unstoppable excitement felt like part of the story itself. For Bucharest, this was not just a concert. It was an experience the city had waited years for. It was a reminder of how one artist's presence could bring people together in joy, excitement, and admiration. And as everyone prepared for the moment Michael Jackson would walk onto that massive stage, it was clear that this event would be remembered long after the music faded. As the sun rose over Bucharest, the venue for Michael Jackson's concert became a hive of activity. Early in the morning, trucks carrying enormous pieces of equipment began arriving at the stadium gates. Each vehicle was carefully guided by security staff, and workers jumped down immediately to unload the massive boxes, crates, and sound systems. There were lights, speakers, video screens, and an incredible amount of cables coiled neatly, ready to be connected. The crew moved like a single organism, communicating with hand signals, radios, and occasional shouted instructions. Everything had to be perfect, because Michael Jackson's performances were known around the world for their precise and flawless production. Inside the stadium, the stage was already taking shape. Metal beams stretched toward the sky, and large platforms began to form the base for where the singer and his dancers would perform. Technicians tested rigging, checking that every piece of equipment was safe and functional. Lights were arranged to create patterns that would later sparkle across the audience during the concert. Some lights would flash in rhythm with the music, others would slowly sweep across the crowd, creating a sense of movement that would make the audience feel part of the show. Video screens were carefully positioned so that even fans sitting far away could see every detail. The scale of it all was breathtaking, and it was clear this would not be a simple concert. It would be a spectacular experience. As the technical team worked, a separate group of dancers and performers rehearsed in a nearby hall. Michael Jackson's shows were never just about the singer. The dancers were an essential part of the performance. Choreographers shouted instructions as they moved in sync, practicing spins, jumps, and precise footwork. Every movement had to match the rhythm of the music perfectly. Michael, though not yet on stage, had already sent notes about certain transitions, ensuring that when he arrived, the show would flow seamlessly. Some of the dancers tried new moves inspired by Michael's own style, while others perfected classic steps like the moonwalk or sharp arm gestures. Their excitement was visible on their faces, and occasionally a laugh or a playful comment would break the intense focus. Even in such a serious rehearsal, joy and admiration for Michael could be felt. When Michael Jackson arrived at the venue, even the largest stage seemed small compared to his presence. He stepped out of his car, waving briefly to the few fans who had managed to catch a glimpse of him from outside the security gates. Though he was careful to maintain privacy, his energy was palpable. Even the crew, who had worked on countless tours, seemed to notice a difference in the atmosphere. Michael's arrival brought a quiet excitement, a sense that everything happening at that moment was important. He walked through the stage area, giving instructions, nodding in approval, and occasionally pausing to make a note of something he wanted adjusted. His focus was intense, but there was also a kindness in his gestures, a sense of caring about the people around him and the audience he would soon perform for. Inside the stadium, fans had begun arriving in larger numbers, forming lines outside the gates. By late morning, the crowd had grown to thousands of eager spectators. Parents held their children's hands, making sure they stayed close. Teenagers walked in groups, laughing and singing along to Michael's music playing from portable radios. Elderly fans moved carefully but steadily, determined to experience this special event. Some fans had made signs and banners, decorated with bright colors and pictures of Michael. Others wore gloves, hats, or jackets inspired by his iconic stage costumes. There was a sense of unity among the crowd. Even strangers exchanged smiles and spoke to each other as if they were old friends, all sharing the same excitement and anticipation. Back on stage, Michael began his first rehearsal. The entire team watched as he moved with incredible precision, adjusting small details in the dancer's timing or suggesting changes to the lighting sequence. He encouraged everyone around him to give their best, explaining exactly how he wanted certain parts to feel. His voice, even during rehearsal, carried a warmth and strength that motivated everyone. There were moments when he would break into a playful smile, joking with a dancer who had missed a step, and then immediately return to perfecting the choreography. The balance of fun and dedication created an atmosphere where everyone felt inspired to do their best work. While Michael practiced with the dancers, sound technicians moved around testing microphones, speakers, and audio levels. Every song had its own unique sound, and each instrument, from drums to keyboards, had to be perfectly balanced. Sometimes the bass would be turned up slightly to ensure the beat could be felt by the audience, while other times the vocals were adjusted so that Michael's voice would carry clearly over the music. Even small details, like the echo in certain parts of the stadium, were taken into consideration. It was a meticulous process, but one that Michael and his team knew was essential for creating an unforgettable experience. Meanwhile, outside the venue, the city itself seemed to join in the anticipation. Shops sold Michael Jackson merchandise, from t-shirts and caps to posters and stickers. Cafes played his music constantly, and local radio stations interviewed excited fans, asking them about their favorite songs and their memories of previous concerts. People who were not planning to attend the show still felt connected to the event. Families walked past the stadium just to see the large stage. Children pointed at the cranes and lights, and friends talked endlessly about how magical the night would be. The concert was becoming more than just a performance. It was a citywide celebration. As the rehearsal continued, Michael focused on each song, perfecting not only the dance moves, but also the timing of each musical cue. He would pause to check with the sound crew, ensuring that every note and beat was accurate. Occasionally, he stopped to give advice to a dancer, showing them exactly how a movement should look and feel. Despite the intensity of the preparation, Michael treated everyone around him with respect and encouragement. The dancers and crew responded with dedication, knowing that this level of professionalism was what made him a legendary performer. Each moment on stage was a lesson in artistry, precision, and teamwork. During breaks, Michael interacted with the fans waiting outside in small ways. Occasionally, he would wave, smile, or gesture toward them, acknowledging their excitement without compromising security or privacy. His presence alone lifted the mood of the crowd. People whispered stories about seeing him walk past, describing the feeling of being so close to someone they admired so much. Even those who had never met him in person felt a connection, strengthened by his energy, and the knowledge that soon they would witness a performance unlike any other. As the day went on, the stage grew more complete, and the rehearsals became more refined. Lights flashed, screens displayed video tests, and the dancers moved with increasing confidence. Every element, from the smallest sound adjustment to the largest visual effect, was carefully coordinated. Michael oversaw it all with patience and precision, ensuring that the final product would exceed expectations. Even the technicians and crew who had been part of countless concerts found themselves inspired by the scale and care of this production. There was a shared sense that something extraordinary was being created, a feeling that would stay with everyone involved long after the concert ended. As evening approached, the sun began to set over the city, casting long shadows across the stadium. Fans continued to gather outside, their excitement growing with every passing hour. Inside, Michael's team conducted final run-throughs, practicing transitions between songs and testing lighting cues that would dazzle the audience. Michael himself gave one last review of the choreography, ensuring that everything flowed seamlessly. Every step, every note, every movement was designed to create an unforgettable experience for the fans. The combination of technical precision, artistic creativity, and heartfelt dedication promised a night that would be remembered for years. Finally, as the night settled in, the stadium lights shone brightly, illuminating the massive stage. Fans could see glimpses of the preparations from outside, feeling the energy radiating from the venue. They sang quietly along to music being tested, practiced small dance moves, and shared stories of past experiences. The anticipation was almost tangible, as everyone knew that soon Michael Jackson would step onto that stage and transform the stadium into a place of magic, music, and unforgettable memories. The night of the concert arrived, and Bucharest seemed to glow with excitement. Streets leading to the stadium were filled with fans, walking in groups or with their families, all moving toward the same destination. Some carried homemade banners, waving flags, or wore jackets, gloves, and hats inspired by Michael Jackson's famous stage costumes. Every face reflected anticipation, joy, and a little nervousness, as if everyone were part of a grand celebration. The air smelled faintly of street food and excitement, a combination that made the city feel alive in a unique and electric way. Even strangers exchanged smiles, connected by the shared anticipation of what was about to happen. The stadium gates opened hours before the performance. Fans moved quickly inside, eager to find the best seats or spots to stand. Some children clutched their parents' hands, craning their necks to see the stage from afar. Teenagers ran to join their friends, laughing and singing along to music playing from nearby speakers. Older fans took steady steps, holding cameras ready to capture every moment. Volunteers guided the crowd efficiently, ensuring that everyone could get to their designated sections safely and comfortably. The atmosphere was filled with joy, laughter, and a collective sense of wonder that only a live concert could create. Inside the stadium, the stage looked magnificent. The enormous screens glowed faintly in the dark, lighting up the faces of fans in the first rows. Bright lights swept across the empty seats, hinting at the visual spectacle that awaited them. Large speakers were strategically positioned, promising sound that would reach every corner of the stadium. Technicians moved quickly, checking lights, microphones, and video feeds one final time. Every detail had been meticulously prepared. From the movement of dancers to the timing of pyrotechnics, everything was designed to deliver a flawless experience. As darkness fell, the excitement in the crowd became almost tangible. People whispered among themselves, their voices trembling with anticipation. Some hummed their favorite Michael Jackson songs quietly, while others practiced small dance moves. Children bounced lightly on their feet, eager to see the performance. Parents smiled, remembering past performances and feeling the pride of sharing this moment with their families. Even those who were not yet familiar with every song found themselves caught in the energy of the crowd, swept along by the atmosphere that surrounded them. Suddenly, a quiet hush fell over the stadium. The lights dimmed completely, and a single spotlight appeared on the stage. A cheer erupted from the crowd, bouncing off the walls and filling the stadium with sound. Then, with a dramatic burst of light and fireworks, Michael Jackson appeared. The crowd's reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Thousands of voices shouted, screamed, and clapped in unison. People jumped up, waving their banners and flags high in the air. Children squealed with delight, while teenagers and adults alike sang along to the opening notes. The moment felt magical, almost as if the city itself had paused to witness something extraordinary. Michael's presence was commanding yet graceful. He moved across the stage with precision, each step perfectly timed with the music. His dancers followed in perfect synchronization, creating patterns of movement that were both intricate and visually stunning. The stage lights danced across the performers, highlighting every gesture, every spin, and every dramatic pose. Large screens projected close-up images of Michael and his dancers, ensuring that even those farthest from the stage could see every detail. The combination of lights, music, and movement created a sense of magic that left the audience in awe. As the first songs played, the crowd sang along enthusiastically. Classics like Billie Jean and Smooth Criminal brought waves of cheers, and the moonwalk drew audible gasps of admiration. Michael's voice, powerful and clear, carried across the stadium, perfectly balanced by the skilled sound technicians. Each note was precise yet full of emotion, resonating deeply with the fans. Some danced in their seats, others clapped along with the rhythm, and many simply watched in quiet amazement, captivated by the artistry on stage. Between songs, Michael took moments to speak to the audience. He thanked them for coming, expressed his love for Bucharest, and encouraged everyone to enjoy the experience. His words were warm, personal, and sincere, making the fans feel connected not just to the music, but to him as a person. The audience responded with loud cheers and applause, waving their banners and flashing their cameras in excitement. Even those who had seen many concerts before seemed to feel something new, a special connection created by Michael's presence and energy. The show included several of Michael's newer songs from the History album, showcasing his ability to combine storytelling, music, and dance. Each performance was carefully staged, with dramatic lighting, synchronized choreography, and visual effects that complemented the music. The audience watched in awe as dancers executed flips, spins, and perfectly timed formations. Michael's movements were precise but full of emotion, demonstrating his mastery of both technique and expression. Fans felt like they were witnessing not just a concert, but a work of art brought to life. As the concert progressed, moments of intimacy and connection emerged. Michael often paused to look at individual sections of the audience, smiling and waving, acknowledging their presence and energy. He encouraged the crowd to sing along, creating a sense of unity that made the stadium feel like one giant family. The cheers and applause seemed endless, a constant exchange of energy between performer and audience. Fans held hands, danced together, and shouted in joy, creating a shared experience that would be remembered for years. One of the most remarkable parts of the night was the combination of music and visual effects. The stage transformed with each song, using lighting, screens, and props to tell stories. Fireworks burst in rhythm with the music. Lights swept across the stadium in dynamic patterns, and smoke effects added depth to dramatic moments. These visual elements enhanced the songs, making each one feel like a unique journey. Fans were mesmerized, often pointing out details to friends or family members as they watched in wonder. Even during quieter songs, the connection between Michael and the audience remained strong. His voice softened for emotional moments, drawing the audience into the story of the music. Fans listened in respectful silence, absorbing every word, every note, and every movement. When the tempo increased, the energy returned instantly, and the crowd erupted in cheers and applause. The performance was a perfect balance of spectacle and intimacy, demonstrating Michael's understanding of how to engage people on multiple levels. Throughout the concert, the technical team worked flawlessly behind the scenes. Sound engineers adjusted levels to match the music perfectly, lighting technicians timed every flash and sweep, and stagehands moved props and sets with incredible precision. Their work allowed Michael and his dancers to focus entirely on the performance, knowing that every element was in place. Even small details like a light highlighting a dancer or a subtle effect timed with a vocal note were executed with care, contributing to the overall magic of the night. As the concert reached its peak, the crowd's energy seemed to grow even stronger. Every song was met with enthusiastic singing, clapping, and dancing. Fans recorded small video clips on their cameras, hoping to capture even a fraction of the experience. Children danced on their parents' laps. Teenagers cheered loudly, and adults waved hands or scarves in rhythm with the music. The collective excitement was contagious, spreading through the stadium in waves. Michael responded with equally powerful energy, moving across the stage with confidence, grace, and joy. The grand finale approached, and the audience could sense the climax of the night. Fireworks, lights, and music combined to create an unforgettable spectacle. Michael performed some of his most iconic moves, leaving the audience in awe of his skill and showmanship. The dancers executed complex routines flawlessly, adding to the visual impact. Fans stood, clapped, and cheered with uncontainable excitement, fully immersed in the moment. The night had become a shared experience of music, artistry, and pure joy. When the concert ended, the stadium was filled with applause that seemed to go on forever. Michael Jackson waved to the audience, thanking them for their energy and participation. The crowd continued to cheer long after the music stopped, reluctant to leave the magic behind. Fans shared stories with each other about their favorite moments, comparing how the lights, music, and dance moves had affected them. The energy of the night stayed in everyone's hearts, leaving memories that would last a lifetime. As the fans slowly left the stadium, the city streets were filled with conversations, laughter, and shared excitement. People talked about the songs, the performances, and the moments when Michael had made them feel part of something extraordinary. Even hours later, the energy from the concert seemed to linger in the air, a reminder of the magical night everyone had experienced together. For Bucharest, the concert had been more than just a show. It had been a moment of unity, joy, and unforgettable artistry. Years after Michael Jackson's unforgettable 1996 concert in Bucharest, the memory of that night remained vivid in the minds of fans. Stories of the magical performance were passed along in families, shared among friends, and sometimes even written about in local newspapers and music magazines. For those who had attended, the experience had become a treasured memory, a moment frozen in time when the city had united for music, joy, and wonder. Yet, over time, the actual visual record of the performance became harder to find. Most official releases showed carefully edited versions of the concert with cuts, camera angles, and special effects that created a polished story. While these versions were impressive, many fans longed to see the performance exactly as it had happened, raw, full, and unedited. The search for unedited footage became a quiet passion among collectors, archivists, and longtime fans. They scoured local television archives, private recordings, and production company materials, hoping to uncover anything that captured the full show. Conversations in online forums and fan clubs were filled with speculation, theories, and excitement over potential discoveries. People compared memories of the night with the edited videos they had seen, pointing out small differences and wondering what might have been left out. The desire to experience the concert exactly as it had happened was not just about nostalgia. It was about preserving history, the way it had truly unfolded in Bucharest. Then one day, news spread like wildfire among the community. A new source of the 1996 Bucharest concert had surfaced. Unlike previous recordings, this one was complete, unedited, and captured from multiple angles. It showed everything: the songs in full, the audience's reactions, and even behind-the-scenes moments that had never been seen before. Fans immediately recognized the significance. This was more than just a video. It was a time machine, a chance to relive a historic night exactly as it had occurred. Collectors and archivists were thrilled, and ordinary fans were eager to watch the footage and experience the concert as if they were there once again. The quality of the recording was remarkable. Cameras captured Michael Jackson moving across the stage with clarity, showing every intricate step of his choreography. Dancers' precise movements, previously visible only in edited clips, could now be seen in their entirety. The lighting effects, fireworks, and visual details of the massive stage were fully preserved, allowing viewers to appreciate the scale of the production. Even small details, like the way Michael interacted with his dancers or waved to the audience, could now be seen clearly. Fans were amazed at how alive the footage felt, almost as if the concert had just happened that very night. Watching the unedited footage, fans noticed moments that had been invisible in previous versions. Between songs, they could see Michael adjusting his microphone, giving a nod to a dancer, or acknowledging a specific section of the audience. These small interactions, which had been edited out in other releases, gave viewers a sense of intimacy with the performance. Fans who had been in the audience described seeing familiar gestures they remembered in real life, bringing back memories and emotions from that night. Those who had never attended felt as if they were stepping into history, experiencing the energy, the excitement, and the joy of thousands of people gathered to witness a legendary performer. The rediscovery of the footage also sparked discussions about the importance of preserving live performances. Archivists and historians noted that concerts were not just entertainment, they were cultural events that captured moments in time. Michael Jackson's Bucharest show, with its immense scale, precision, and energy, represented a significant moment in music history. The unedited recording allowed future generations to study and appreciate the artistry, choreography, and production techniques that made the performance extraordinary. It became a valuable resource, offering insight into the work of a performer who had shaped popular music for decades. Fans around the world responded with enthusiasm. Social media groups, forums, and fan clubs shared clips, screenshots, and personal reactions. Comments ranged from excitement at seeing a favorite song performed perfectly to amazement at the scale of the stage and the coordination of the dancers. Many fans expressed gratitude that the performance had been preserved so faithfully. They spoke about the joy of seeing the audience's reactions, the raw energy of the crowd, and Michael's incredible stage presence. The unedited footage created a shared experience once again, connecting people who had never met but shared admiration for the King of Pop. For those who had been at the concert in 1996, watching the unedited footage was a deeply emotional experience. They recognized the sounds of the crowd they remembered, the way the stadium felt alive with energy, and even small details like the banners waving in the night. Memories of standing shoulder to shoulder with strangers who became temporary companions that night came flooding back. Some fans described tears of joy as they watched moments they thought they would only remember in their minds. The recording validated their memories, confirming that the night had been just as magical as they had remembered. The discovery also inspired a new generation of fans. Young people who had not been born when the concert happened found themselves captivated by the performance. They studied Michael's dance moves, listened carefully to the music, and learned about the preparation, discipline, and artistry that went into creating a live show of this scale. Teachers, music students, and performers around the world used the footage as a learning tool, appreciating the skill, timing, and creativity that made Michael Jackson a legendary entertainer. The recording ensured that his influence would continue to inspire people for years to come. Media outlets reported on the discovery, emphasizing both its historical and cultural significance. Articles described how rare it was to find an unedited recording of such a large-scale concert, and highlighted the reactions of fans who had waited decades for a chance to see it. Interviews with archivists and collectors explained the technical aspects of the recording, the effort involved in preserving it, and the excitement of uncovering a piece of music history. Fans were thrilled to see the coverage, and discussions about the concert and the newly discovered footage became widespread, further cementing the performance's place in popular culture. The unedited Bucharest concert became more than just a video. It became a symbol of connection and shared experience. People talked about the concert not only as a night of music, but also as a moment when the city, the fans, and Michael Jackson himself were united in celebration. The performance was remembered not just for the songs, but for the emotion, dedication, and artistry that created a magical experience. The discovery of the unedited footage allowed people to relive those moments, reconnect with memories, and share the magic with new generations. Collectors and archivists took special care of the footage. They ensured it was stored properly to prevent damage, while also making copies for fans and institutions interested in studying the performance. Discussions about restoration, digital preservation, and archiving practices highlighted the importance of taking care of cultural artifacts. The recording was seen as a treasure, a way to honor the memory of a legendary artist and the thousands of fans who had been part of that historic night. The impact of the unedited footage reached beyond the fan community. Music historians analyzed Michael's performance style, stage design, choreography, and interaction with the audience. They noted the precision of the dancers, the synchronization of lights and music, and the overall spectacle that made the show remarkable. Scholars wrote about the performance as an example of excellence in live entertainment, showing how Michael Jackson combined talent, dedication, and creativity to create moments that would be remembered forever. The recording became a case study in how a live concert could be both a performance and a cultural milestone. For the fans, the unedited footage became a shared treasure. Online communities watched it together, discussed favorite moments, and even attempted to recreate small elements of the performance. Teachers used it to show students examples of movement, timing, and stage presence. Families watched it together, reminiscing about memories from the 1996 concert or imagining what it would have been like to attend. Even decades later, the footage brought people together, reminding them of the power of music to inspire, unite, and create lasting memories. The rediscovery of the Bucharest concert recording reinforced a simple truth. Great art, when preserved, continues to inspire. Michael Jackson's performance, captured in its raw, unedited form, allowed fans to see the magic as it really happened. It reminded people why they had been captivated by his music in the first place: the energy, the joy, the artistry, and the connection between performer and audience. The footage was not just a record of a show, it was a celebration of human creativity and shared experience, one that would continue to be appreciated for generations. Even years after the concert in Bucharest, the memory of that night continued to shine brightly in the hearts of fans around the world. Michael Jackson's performance had become more than just a show. It had become a symbol of joy, unity, and artistry. People spoke about it not only as a music event, but also as a cultural milestone. The way he had captivated the crowd, the precision of his dancing, and the emotion in his voice had left an imprint on everyone who had been present. For those who had been at the stadium, the memory was unforgettable, and for those who discovered it later through recordings, it was equally magical. The rediscovered unedited footage added another layer to this legacy. Fans could see every detail of the concert exactly as it had happened, without cuts or changes. The videos showed Michael's careful attention to every element: the choreography, the music, the interaction with dancers, and the connection with the audience. Fans were amazed to see moments that had never been visible in edited releases. The way he adjusted his microphone between songs, the playful smiles shared with his dancers, and the small gestures that made the show feel personal and human. It was a reminder that Michael Jackson's artistry extended beyond singing. He created an experience that was immersive and memorable for everyone involved. As the footage circulated, more people realized how influential the Bucharest concert had been. Scholars and music historians began to examine the performance, noting how it combined showmanship, technical skill, and emotional connection. They praised Michael for his dedication to his craft, pointing out the hours of rehearsal, the precision of every movement, and the way he made each audience member feel seen. The concert became an example of excellence in live entertainment, demonstrating how a performance could inspire, entertain, and create a sense of community at the same time. Fans who had been children in 1996 remembered the concert as a defining moment in their lives. Some spoke about how it had inspired them to pursue music, dance, or performance art. Others shared memories of learning Michael's moves in their living rooms, practicing until their feet ached, and imagining themselves on stage with him. The performance had left a mark not only as entertainment, but also as motivation for creativity and ambition. For many, it had been the first time they truly experienced the magic of a live concert, feeling energy and excitement that could not be captured in recordings alone. For those who discovered the unedited footage years later, it was like stepping back in time. They could feel the energy of the stadium, the collective joy of thousands of fans, and the charisma of Michael Jackson himself. The recordings allowed people to witness his talent in a way that felt immediate and real. Young fans who had never seen him perform live were inspired by his dedication, his movements, and his connection with the audience. They could study his performance style, learn from his choreography, and understand why he had become one of the most celebrated entertainers in history. The concert also reinforced the idea that music has the power to bring people together. In 1996, people from all walks of life had gathered in Bucharest for one purpose: to enjoy the performance of an artist they admired. Strangers had become friends for the night, families had shared unforgettable experiences, and the city had felt united through the joy of music. The rediscovered footage reminded viewers that this sense of unity was not just a memory, it was something that could still be experienced. Watching the concert allowed people to feel connected to the past, to each other, and to the broader community of fans worldwide. Michael Jackson's legacy was also evident in the preparation and dedication that went into the performance. Fans and historians alike noted the hours of rehearsal, the meticulous planning, and the collaboration between international crews and local staff. Every aspect of the show, from the massive stage setup to the smallest lighting detail, had been carefully orchestrated. The rediscovered footage showed these elements in action, highlighting the skill and artistry required to create a live concert of this scale. Fans could see the teamwork, effort, and dedication that went into making the performance unforgettable. The impact of the Bucharest concert extended beyond the music itself. It had become part of the city's cultural history, a moment when the world's biggest entertainer turned a single night into a shared experience for tens of thousands of people. Fans spoke about the concert as a once-in-a-lifetime event, one that shaped their memories of music, performance, and celebration. Local media often revisited the event, highlighting its significance for both the city and the global music community. Even years later, the night remained a reference point for discussions about great performances and memorable concerts. In addition to its cultural impact, the concert inspired future generations of performers. Young dancers, singers, and musicians watched the footage to learn from Michael's technique, style, and stage presence. They studied the way he moved with precision and emotion, the way he engaged with the audience, and the way he combined music, choreography, and visual effects to create a complete experience. For many, it became a lesson in dedication, showing that excellence in performance required not only talent, but also preparation, creativity, and attention to detail. Fans also appreciated the concert for its emotional resonance. Michael Jackson's performance conveyed joy, excitement, and connection, but it also carried moments of reflection and sensitivity. Songs that were slower or more emotional allowed the audience to feel the depth of the music, while energetic performances filled them with exhilaration. The unedited footage captured all of these emotions, allowing viewers to experience the full range of feelings that had made the night so memorable. People could see how music could move them, inspire them, and create lasting memories, all in the span of a single concert. The rediscovery of the concert also reinforced the importance of preserving cultural moments. Archivists, historians, and fans understood that live performances were fleeting experiences, unique to the time and place in which they occurred. Without careful preservation, these moments could be lost forever. The Bucharest concert recording became an example of why documentation mattered. It showed that a performance could be both a form of entertainment and a historical artifact, capturing the essence of a cultural event for future generations. As fans continued to watch the footage, they shared their experiences with others. Online communities discussed favorite moments, compared memories, and celebrated the artistry of the performance. Families watched together, teenagers debated choreography, and longtime fans relived the night with joy. The concert had become more than just an event. It was a shared story, passed along and experienced in countless ways. The rediscovered footage allowed the story to live on, connecting people across generations and geographic boundaries. Ultimately, the Bucharest concert became a symbol of Michael Jackson's enduring influence. It showed that his music, his dedication, and his artistry could create experiences that were unforgettable, even decades later. Fans around the world recognize that the performance was not only about entertainment, it was about connection, creativity, and inspiration. The unedited footage allowed them to witness the magic in its purest form, ensuring that the memory of that night would remain alive in the hearts of all who saw it. For Michael Jackson himself, the Bucharest concert was a testament to his commitment to his fans and to his art. Every step, every note, and every gesture had been carefully designed to create an unforgettable experience. The audience had responded with love, enthusiasm, and admiration, creating a feedback loop of energy that made the performance even more remarkable. The rediscovery of the unedited footage allowed the world to see that dedication and to appreciate the artistry that had made him a global icon. In the end, the Bucharest concert stood as a defining moment in Michael Jackson's career and in the history of live entertainment. It reminded people of the power of music to unite, inspire, and create lasting memories. It showed that a single night could have a profound impact, influencing fans, performers, and communities for decades to come. The unedited footage preserved the magic of that night, allowing anyone who watched it to experience the performance as if they were there, sharing in the joy, excitement, and artistry that had made the event so extraordinary. The legacy of the Bucharest concert continues to inspire. It teaches that preparation, dedication, and creativity can produce unforgettable experiences. It demonstrates that music can connect people across time and space, creating memories that last a lifetime. And most importantly, it shows that true artistry is timeless. Michael Jackson's performance in Bucharest remains a shining example of the impact one artist can have on the world, touching hearts, inspiring dreams, and leaving a legacy that will never be forgotten.